Hello students, let us look at some of the Laplace transform of some important functions. Now what I want you all to do is you should take one page and keep it separately for writing all the results. For example, you should take a page like this and draw a line exactly in the middle and draw a line exactly in the middle, and then on this side you can write time based functions. Okay, you can write time based functions f of t or v of t or whatever. Okay, this side you should write time based functions and this side you should write Laplace transform. Why we are doing this is because we have to find out and remember some of the results that we are going to get here. So it's important to write and keep it somewhere so that in between we can go and we can refer it. Okay, so this is what we will do. So here I am having time based functions, and similarly on this side I will have Laplace transforms, and one by one the results that I'm going to get I'm going to keep on writing here. You should remember that this you have to take it in a fresh page and keep it and keep on adding the results there. Okay, so first we will start from the very first function that we have, which is a unit impulse function. What is the meaning of a unit impulse function is an impulse function only exists at t is equal to 0. At all other times it is 0. Okay, so what I can write as the definition of this is that delta t is equal to 0 at t not equal to 0. That when t is not equal to 0, its value is equal to 0. And what is its value at t is equal to 0? Some textbooks may wrongly write it as delta t is equal to delta t is equal to infinity, but that's wrong. Okay, you should never write this. What is the definition for that is that within this function, if you would take the integration, okay, the definition will come as integration from minus infinity to infinity of delta t for the whole time period from minus infinity to infinity will give me an answer of 1. This is what is the basic definition of delta t. So how do you understand it? So let me again draw this thing for the time being and then give you an idea about it. Okay, now suppose this is my time based axis and I am talking about a pulse. Okay, now a pulse is, suppose a white pulse is something like this. Okay, this is a white pulse, so you can see that it is existing from some minus tau by 2 to some tau by 2 time period. Okay, some time period it is existing from that, and the area under this I am assuming that it is going to be equal to 1. That means this will be the height of this will be 1 by tau. So what is the width? The width is tau and the height is 1 by tau. So tau into 1 by tau will give me 1. So the area under this is 1. Now suppose if I am going to reduce the width of this pulse. Okay, suppose if I am going to reduce the width of this pulse. So what will happen? The area wants to be the same, but the width will reduce. So now I will have it basically having its height increased. Okay, so let me draw it. Okay, so this is how I have reduced the pulse width, but because of the area trying to be the same, the height has increased. Okay, now again if I go to further reduce the width, again what will happen is its width will reduce but its height will keep on increasing. But again the area within this is going to be still 1. Okay, so like that, if I am going to further reduce this to a very thin one, then you can see that now it's going to go up. Okay, its height is increasing because the area has to be always 1. The area underneath the pulse has to be always 1. So in this case, as we keep on going and as this width totally tends towards 0, the height will tend towards infinity. Now it is only tending towards 0. That means when t tends towards when t tends towards 0, the amplitude of this pulse will tend towards infinity. It is only tending towards infinity. We never say that we will have t is equal to 0 or a is going to be infinity, because both of them are impractical solutions. So that's why some textbooks may say that this is infinity, but actually it is wrong. What you should say for defining an impulse function is always, you should always remember this. Never write this incorrectly. Always write this, that delta t is equal to 0 for all the other times t is not equal to 0. Okay. Or better than this is, we write it as delta t exists only at t is equal to 0, and the area under the delta t function or the unit impulse function is 1. Okay, so this is the definition of that, and now I will not keep this because this is just for explanation purpose. So I will rub this one off. So you have got the idea of what is the definition, what is the meaning of delta t function. Okay, delta t function is a pulse that is existing for a very small duration of time, but the area underneath it is 1. Now, if I have to take the Laplace of this, okay, let me use black color itself. Okay, so therefore, the Laplace of delta t is going to be equal to, now I have to calculate the Laplace. Now already Laplace, I have seen the equation. What is the equation of Laplace? The equation of Laplace is from 0 to infinity. This is the equation, correct? So I will not take 0, I will take 0 minus. 0 minus means what? Just behind the 0 axis. So I will write it as 0 minus. What is 0 minus? 0 minus means I am just taking a time which is just behind the 0 point, and it is basically in the negative axis. So it is 0 minus. Okay, so 0 minus to infinity. So when I write 0 minus, it means I am including 0 inside. Okay, so it is not starting from 0, it is starting from somewhere just behind 0. Okay, and then the function here is delta t e raised to power minus st dt. Okay, now since delta t exists only at t is equal to 0, therefore the Laplace equation of delta t will become from 0 minus to infinity, delta t will remain, and now here instead of t I can write it as 0. Why I am writing it as 0? Because this function is only existing at t is equal to 0. At no other times it is going to be there. So I will write S0 is 0 itself. So e raised to power 0 minus 0 dt. And we know that e raised to power we know that e raised to power minus 0 is 1. Okay, so because of that, this one becomes 0 minus, sorry, 0 minus to infinity delta t 1 into dt. Okay, and that is going to be equal to how much? See, look at this equation. It means that the area under delta t is 1 from minus infinity to infinity. So if I am going to take from here, basically the whole pulse will come inside. So this is going to be equal to 1. Therefore, I can finally come to the conclusion. Therefore, Laplace transform of delta t or the impulse function is going to be equal to 1. Okay, and what we write it as is delta t Laplace transform is, let me write it in a different way, LT. Laplace transform is 1. Okay, now what is the arrow that I have drawn here? See, I have drawn the arrow like this, forward and then coming back. What is the meaning of that? That if I am going to take the Laplace transform of delta t, I will get this, and if I am going to take something called as Laplace inverse transform, I will get this. There is a Laplace inverse transform, and that we will have to discuss within this chapter itself. It is called as Laplace inverse transform, and that we will discuss. Okay, that we will discuss, but right now I will use the notation. The arrow should be like this, is going in front direction and coming back. So that is what I will always use for Laplace transform. Even for Fourier series, Fourier transform, everything we will have to use that, but you know that is going to come in future, so I will not say anything now. So I will put that in a box. So this result we should never forget. That's why I will write the result here. I will write the result here. The result is that the Laplace transform of delta t is going to be equal to 1. Okay, the Laplace transform of delta t is going to be equal to 1. Let's look at the second function. The second function is going to be a unit step function. So I will write unit step, which is represented as u of t, u standing for unit step. Okay, and how do we draw this? We draw this, if I am going to again use the so if this is the time axis, okay, this is the time axis, let me write it. This is t, this is minus t, and this is 0. Then what I am having as a unit step function is that it will be 0 for all the negative values of t, and for t is equal to 0 it will go up and then it will remain. So it's just like a step. Okay, it will just remain like a step and it will go all the way up to infinity. Okay, so this is this function. I will write it as ft is equal to u of t, unit step function, and the height of this one is going to be 1. Why? Because it is unit step. Unit means 1. Okay, so this is our unit step function. So there are many definitions for u of t. Basically, I will say u of t has two values. One is 0 for t less than 0, and it is 1 for t greater than or equal to 0. Now see, in certain textbooks they also use this notation that it can never be two values at 0. That means you can never have it 0 at 0 and then 1 also at 0. So you can never write, that it will have two values. Basically they always say that it will have a small slope to go up. Okay, and here you are having 0 value. So sometimes in certain textbooks they write that at t is equal to, at t less than 0 it is 0. Okay, at t greater than 0 it is 1, and at t equal to 0 it is having a value of half. Why? Because it is climbing and it has reached half. So this is 1, this level is 0. Okay, this level is 0, this is 1, so this might have climbed halfway, and that's why it will be written like half. But for our sake we will always consider that for t greater than or equal to 0 we will have the value as 1. So don't get it confused. In certain textbooks it may be used like that, it does not matter. Okay, now based on this, let us continue. So now Laplace transform of u of t. So we know the equation. The equation is from 0 minus up to infinity, f of t. F of t is what? U of t. So I will write it u of t better. U of t e raised to power minus st dt. Now what is u of t? U of t is going to be 1 for 0 up to infinity. So basically I can write that from 0 minus up to infinity the value of u of t is going to be equal to 1, and the remaining I will write e raised to power minus st dt. Okay, and we know what is the integration of e raised to power. If you write e raised to power, if you want to integrate from 0 to any value infinity e raised to power minus at, if you want to if you want to do that, then the answer is minus 1 by a comes out, e raised to power minus at. That is what is the integration. So that same thing we will use here. Instead of a it is e raised to power minus st. So I will write minus 1 by s will come outside, and what is remaining is e raised to power minus st, and the limits I will put it as 0 minus, which is 0, and infinity. Okay, I'll put it as 0 instead of 0 minus, I will write 0. Okay, so now from here I can write therefore that Laplace transform of u of t is going to be minus 1 by s and e raised to power minus infinity. So e raised to power minus infinity minus e raised to power 0. Okay, and what is e raised to power minus infinity? E raised to power minus infinity is 0. So this is minus 1 by s, e raised to power minus infinity is 0, and this is minus of e raised to power 0 is 1. Okay, so I will get the answer as 1 by s. Okay, so now do I need to anytime soon do the integration? No need. Now I can directly use this result that Laplace transform of u of t is going to be 1 by s, or I can write it as u of t is, again putting the arrows, Laplace transform will give me 1 by s. So I will put that within a bracket. Okay, and that result I will write it here, I will write it here, where the second result is going to be that u of t, if I am going to take Laplace transform, I will get 1 divided by s. Okay, so that is done for the second one. Now we have to look for the third function. The next one that we will go for is the unit ramp function. Unit ramp function, which is given as t u of t. Now why it is written like this? See, u of t exists only for u of t exists only for 0 to infinity, and the ramp function also, unit ramp function also exists only from 0 to infinity. Okay, whereas before that it's all going to be 0. So if I am going to write the value as t, if I write, suppose if I write only t, t means I should draw the graph like this. Sorry, I should draw the graph like this, where I am having for positive t values, I will have the values in positive, and for negative t values, I will have the values as negative. But when I say unit ramp function, it is existing only from 0 to t infinity. So t u of t is basically a ramp signal which is having a slope of 1, okay, which is having a slope of 1, and which is basically existing only from 0 to infinity, and before that its value is 0. That's why I multiply it with a t with u of t, because t is basically existing from minus infinity to infinity, whereas a u of t is existing only from 0 up to infinity, and before that its value is all 0. So if I multiply both these values will get multiplied with 1. So I will get the values as the same. Whereas here all these values, negative values, will multiply with 0, and that will give me a value of 0. That's why a unit ramp function is written as t u of t. Okay. So t u of t is basically given by this. And now if I had to take the Laplace transform of that, I will, so first I should write, I should write the definition of t u of t. So t u of t is having values of t for t greater than or equal to 0 and 0 for t less than 0. Therefore, the Laplace transform of t u of t will be, we know the equation, minus 0 to infinity f of t here is t u of t e raised to power minus st dt. Okay, now for u of t, we know that from 0 to infinity its value is 1, so I can write this as 0 minus, I should write it as 0 minus up to infinity t e raised to power minus st dt. Okay, now if I have to solve it using integration by parts, so before that I have to do the integration. So let st be equal to x, therefore t will be equal to x by s, okay, and dt, differentiation of t with respect to x, will give me, with respect to x, if I differentiate this, I will get the answer as 1 by s. Therefore dt can be written as, I will take dx the other side, I will get 1 by s dx. So now I can substitute instead of dt, okay, instead of dt I can substitute this value. Instead of e raised to power st, I can substitute x, and instead of t I can write this value. Then what will I get? Okay, then what will I get? So I will get the Laplace of t u of t, I have changed that equation. So I will get it from 0 minus up to infinity. Now instead of t, I will write x by s. Instead of e raised to power minus st, I will write as minus x. And instead of t dt, I will write it as 1 by s into dx. Okay. Now here this is a differentiation with respect to x. So s I can totally take outside. So here I am having one s, another s. So I will take out 1 by s square outside. So what remains is 0 minus infinity x e raised to power minus x dx. Okay. So now I have to do this integration, which I will solve using integration by parts. Okay, integration by parts. What is the meaning of that? Now, how do we solve it by integration by parts? Okay, it's basically that if I consider, let me write it like this, that 0 minus up to infinity x e raised to power minus x dx. If I consider this much part as u and this much part as dv, then I can write this equation as 0 minus up to infinity u dv, which based on integration by parts is given as u into v from 0 to infinity minus integration of 0 to infinity v dot du. Okay, so if I am going to take by that, so if I am going to take u is equal to, therefore let u is equal to x, that I have taken here. Okay, then I can say that differentiation of u with respect to x, differentiation of u with respect to x will give me an answer 1. Why? Because du by dx is same as dx by dx, which is 1. Okay, and then if dv is basically your e raised to power minus x dx, then dv by dx is equal to e raised to power minus x, then I can find out v as minus e raised to power minus x. See, if I am going to differentiate this with respect to x, I will get this answer. So I have done the reverse process and I have got this. Okay, so based on that, now if I am going to substitute, therefore Laplace of t u of t, which is written as 1 by s square integration from minus 0 minus up to infinity x e raised to power minus x dx, which now by integration by parts, now I am going to write it as 0 minus up to infinity integration u dv based on integration by parts, then by integration by parts I can write this as, that is equal to 1 by s square. Now see, I am going to use this equation. Okay, why? Because that is integration by parts, this whole thing. So instead of what is written in this bracket here, I will write u dot v. What is u? U is x. What is v? V is this. So I will write x into minus, so minus I will take outside, so x e raised to power minus x, and this I will have to do between 0 to infinity correct? Minus, now what is remaining? I have to integrate. So I have to integrate from 0 to infinity. V, what is V? V is minus of e raised to power minus x, and du. What is du? Du, from here I can directly say that du is equal to dx. So I will write dx. Okay. So what is this? This is Laplace of t u of t. Okay. So again, Laplace of t u of t will give me, so let me write. Okay, so this is 1 by s square, that is okay. Here, if I am going to put infinity, e raised to power minus infinity will be 0. So 0 into infinity will again give me 0 only. So I will write this as 0 minus of, now what is remaining here? 0. Okay, if I put x is equal to 0, so it will become 0. Minus, and this integration, so I will take minus outside, so this will become plus, and then I have to integrate it with respect to x, so minus of e raised to power minus x infinity 0. Okay, so now I have to put the limit. So this becomes 1 by s square, and 0 minus 0 is 0, so I will take that one out. Now I am having minus of e raised to power minus infinity is 0, and e raised to power 0 is minus of e raised to power 0 is 1, which will give me the answer as 1 by s square. Therefore I can say that the Laplace transform of t u of t is going to be 1 by s square, or I can write t, if I am going to take the Laplace transform, I will get the answer as 1 by s square. And you know, I can generalize this. We can generalize like, if you are having a function which is t raised to power n. Okay, if you are having a function t raised to power n, so if I am going to say that the Laplace of t raised to power n, okay, and generalizing, that means t raised to power any value, t raised to power any number. Okay, now since I have written Laplace, I should not put this sign. Okay, that is going to be equal to, you can find this out by taking n factorial divided by s raised to n plus 1. Okay, so this, or you can say it in Laplace transform as t raised to power n. The Laplace transform will be n factorial divided by s raised to n plus 1. So both of this we can put it in a box. So this is one of the results. Okay, and we can put another generalized result, which is this one, also in a box. So both of this are the results. So we can write them separately as, let's write it here. So my third one would be that if I take t, the answer would be 1 by s square, and similarly if I take t raised to power n, then the Laplace transform of that will be n factorial divided by s raised to power n plus 1. So you can see here what is happening here. Now, as you come down, the denominator is going up from s square, s raised to higher value. So example, if you are having t square, then the answer to that will be 2 factorial divided by s raised to power 3. 2 factorial is what? 2 divided by s cube. So if you are having t square, then its Laplace will be 2 divided by s cube. So like that, like that we can find out for any values. Okay, next we will have to see for another signal that we will see in the other class. Thank you.